Hello, welcome back to day 2 of Reconnection. If you are here live or on the replay, please drop your comments in the comments box. I'd love to know who's here. And yes, welcome. I'm so excited. Today's topic is a big one. It is on reconnecting with your emotions. It's a big one, particularly for me as well, because I really only started this journey in reconnecting with my emotions 2 years ago, and it's been a big, big, big eye opener. I'll tell you a little bit more about my story in a moment, but I wonder if you have been ever called too emotional or too sensitive, and in that sense kind of thought that your emotions were too much, that you're too much, that you need to pipe yourself down, make yourself smaller to make others feel comfortable. We're going deep here already. That is such a common story, experience amongst particularly women. And we'll dive deeper into that in a moment. But reconnecting with your emotions is such an integral part of your PCOS healing, because emotions are our strongest motivator. Let that sink in. Emotions are humans' strongest motivator. If you think of, people in love, what's the phrase? Like, you do a lot of really dumb things, or you oversee a lot of flaws because of that feeling of love. When you're in a dangerous situation, you feel fear. That fear drives people to do miraculous things, like run into a burning building to save a baby or a dog or someone. And the thing with emotions is that we actually have so much control over our emotions if we are connected to them. So I want you to have a think about how you relate to your emotions, and how your emotions affect your PCOS. Do you notice that when you're feeling sad or anxious or stressed or frustrated or angry, that you tend to binge eat, or you tend to just kind of be like, well, fuck the world, and go into a bit of a shell? Does your weight, or the number on the scales, or the number on the calorie counter affect your emotions, and that those emotions affect the rest of your day? Do you notice that when you're in a more positive emotion, habits are just so much easier to do. Nutritious eating, easy. Movement, easy. But when you're not in a good mood, you don't do anything. Everything's too hard. So you're starting to see how important connection and understanding your emotions are in your PCOS healing. So before we get into the juicy stuff, I do want to share a story, my story with reconnecting with my emotions. And that really was only 2 years ago that I realized I have a full spectrum of emotions. For the first 25 years of my life, I only ever showed positive, happy, joyful emotions when I could help it. And I would never ask for help. I was Miss Hyper Independent. And I would never call a friend when I was sad or in need. And I just lived life. Whenever I saw anyone, I just put it on a smile and was this happy-go-lucky person. But you cannot be just happy and joyful for 25 years of your life. That's not realistic. I realized I started my deep healing journey 2 years ago, and I realized that it was because of my childhood experiences, my relationship with my parents. Whenever I would show less pleasant emotions, whenever I'd cry, whenever I'd feel frustrated or angry or sad, my parents would kind of shush me or even hit me or tell me to suppress those emotions. Tell me, what do you have to be sad about? Everything's fine. Stop crying. And as a child, I took that as I will not be loved if I share unpleasant emotions. People don't want to hear about my sadness or my anger or my frustration. So lock that part away. And when you're around people, make sure that everyone feels comfortable and happy and joyful. And I took my value from that. I took my value from being the joyful one. And so all up into my adulthood, I always locked away my difficult emotions and only shared my positive emotions. And I don't blame my parents for this. So many factors in play, including generational trauma, including they were boat people. They immigrated to Australia to flee the Vietnam War. And so I don't blame them for this because they struggled with their emotions as well. They weren't able to express their less pleasant emotions and be held. So I don't blame them. But the product of that is me growing up believing that I am not worthy if I share my less pleasant emotions. And everything kind of exploded a couple of years ago when we had a big family event and I was crying and my parents were still like, shush, shush, don't cry. And I knew that something was wrong, and that's when I sought therapy. I read a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Vessel van der Kolk. Really amazing book about how trauma and emotions are held within our body. And when I say trauma, I mean the physiological response in our bodies. Everyone has trauma. It doesn't have to be a big event that causes trauma. It is that physiological response that causes trauma. And if this is not released, if you don't feel safe to release this energy, these emotions from within you, that trauma is stuck within your body. So if you have not done this work before, it is likely that you have trauma that is stuck in your body, and that leads to repeated patterns of behaviors that don't serve you. Things like people pleasing, not being able to say no, having no boundaries, not taking care of yourself, taking care of everyone else but before yourself, prioritizing everyone's needs and comfort and safety before your own. We're going deep here, I know. But this is an integral part of your PCOS healing, of your healing in general. For you to live a healthy and happy and joyful life that you love, that you've created, that is aligned to your soul, this is the work that you need to do. So I've done a lot of trauma therapy and trauma healing over the last couple of years. And I realize now that my anxiety and depression were all because of those suppressed emotions that were stuck in my body that were stopping me from living true to my soul. That is all that anxiety and depression is. I see that so clearly now. And now I am so connected to my emotions. I cry regularly. And I love it. Feeling is healing. Whenever I cry, I know that I'm healing, and I honor it. I actually, every Sunday, I take time out to do my Sunday ritual to kind of clear my energy and set myself up for the following week. And I sit with my body and I drop in and I see if there is any emotions, any sensations that are stuck within my body that needs to be released. Because we are constantly absorbing so much information from our external world, and our body is processing it. Maybe our subconscious and our unconscious is processing it, but consciously we are not. And we're like, oh, we're at work. I can't cry right now, even though that thing really hit me hard. I can't cry right now, so we suppress it. And we don't ever let that out. But those suppressed emotions don't just leave. You need to express them. That is how you clear your emotions and the traumas. So yes, I purposely take time to connect with my body and my emotions now. And we will go through the body drop-in meditation that I do every week at the end of this training as well, so that you can start to practice that. I also cry. I know I will always cry during my luteal phase of my menstrual cycle. That's the premenstrual phase. the phase where women are most known, or vulva owners are most known to be PMSy, be emotional because of our hormones. And that our emotions are kind of dismissed. Our emotions, our thoughts, our whatever we say is dismissed during this period because everyone's like, oh, it's just PMS, it's just the hormones, doesn't mean anything. But there is so much wisdom in those emotions. There is so much wisdom in your emotions. And we'll get deeper into that in a moment. So now I practice acknowledging, accepting, expressing, and honoring my light and my shadow, the positive and the not so positive emotions. I try to share this as well with my friends and family, and now on social media as well. It's difficult for me. 25 years of being told that my negative or less positive emotions are, not good. Don't show them. Hide them from the world. So it's difficult for me to share these less pleasant emotions. But I think it's important for others to see that it is okay, it is perfect that you have these pleasant and less pleasant emotions. That makes you whole. Your pleasant and less pleasant emotions make you whole. And when you accept that within yourself and share that with others, others will start to accept that within themselves as well. That is why I say hurt people, and healed people help others heal themselves. The work that you do in your own healing is healing the collective, is healing others. This work is so much bigger than us. And now I feel like I experience the full spectrum of emotions, from not just the highest of highs, but also the lowest of lows, which can be difficult sometimes. But because I know how to express them, and because I know that emotions are passing, and if I express them and honor them, they pass even quicker than if I try to shun them down and suppress them. Moving through them is so much easier. And so I can hold the highest of highs and lowest of lows. I also have ADHD. So people with ADHD are known to have emotional dysregulation, where you feel the very big spectrum ends of emotions. But I love it. This is the beauty of life, experiencing emotions, the highs and the lows. This is life. This makes you whole. This is the light and the shadow. This is inevitable. And once you can accept that and learn the skills and the tools to move through, allow your emotions to move through you properly, safely, life just gets so much easier. So that is my story, and that's why I am so passionate about sharing this to you and to my clients and to my community. I see it in my clients now as well. I see it in so many people in the world, but I see it in my clients. Often they share a less positive emotion and then they try to change the topic immediately because it's uncomfortable to set in the less pleasant emotions, especially when you're not used to it, and especially when you've been told that other people don't want to hear about your less pleasant emotions. But of course, I don't let that slide easily. My clients come to me because they know they want to do the work. They're here to do the work. So I always, very kindly, if they feel comfortable, bring it back to that less pleasant emotion, so that they can fully acknowledge, accept, express, and honor those emotions. Emotions are one of the biggest blocks for people developing consistent healthy habits and healing their PCOS. The guilt, the shame, the frustration, the not feeling good enough, those are the main ones that I can think of right now. These block you from doing what you need to do to heal your PCOS. Oh, I was trying to eat healthily, but then I accidentally binged on chocolate, and so I feel shame about that. I feel so mad at myself, and so I'm just going to keep binging, and start the new diet again on Monday. As opposed to, oh, I had a really stressful day and I binged on this chocolate, but that's okay, it's fine. I know this is just the process. I am healing, I'm learning, I'm going to do better, I'm going to keep nourishing myself properly. Do you notice the difference? I have clients who apologize for sharing their emotions. And I have to remind them this is what I'm here for, to hold space for your less pleasant emotions, for your difficult emotions, so that you can express them and realize that you are still whole, you are still accepted, even if you express your less pleasant emotions. In fact, because you express your less pleasant emotions, you are whole and you are accepted. Of course, you do need to feel safe to express these less pleasant emotions if you've never felt safe doing so before. And so I feel so honored when my clients do share their tears, their anger, their frustration, their shame with me and with the community, because that means that they feel safe to do so. And that apologizing, that trying to run away and change the topic is their trauma response. And it just takes that safe container, that compassionate person and community to remind them that everything is welcome here. All of you is welcome here. And when you have more and more experiences of feeling safe to express your less pleasant emotions, you start to feel okay with doing it. And you start to express them more regularly in the safe container that you create. It's big. Take a deep breath. Exhale out of the mouth if you need. Make any noises that you need. This is a big, big, big topic. And if you are feeling something right now, if you're feeling maybe even triggered, or if this is really resonating with you, that is perfect. That is all okay. This is why you're here. I know that you are here to do the work. And sometimes it's not easy. But you know that you'll be better off on the other side. And so I honor what you are feeling right now. So, if you'd like to bring out your journal right now, this is the perfect time. And I invite you to just explore what your relationship with your emotions are right now in your life. I would call a healthy relationship with your emotions as acknowledging them, accepting them, expressing them, and releasing them. You feel stable. You don't have many outbursts. You respond rather than react. React is where you have that initial feeling and then you say a thing or you do a thing immediately without thinking. Whereas responding is you still feel that initial feeling, whatever that is, but you take a moment to take a breath, to sit back and think about and feel, how do I want to respond? How can I respond in a way that is aligned with my values? And no one's perfect. I mean, Dalai Lama and like ascended masters who have really mastered responding rather than reacting, but I still react a lot in my life. But since doing this work and since reconnecting with my emotions, I respond a lot more than I react. When you have a healthy relationship with your emotions, often you have a wider window of tolerance. So the window of tolerance is in the middle, this window is where you feel safe. You feel safe, you feel calm. Above and below it is where you do not feel safe. Above is where you get into the sympathetic nervous system. You get into fight or flight. Your heartbeat starts pumping and you get hyper vigilant and you're super anxious and you're super alert and you're about to fight or flee. And then below it is the dorsal response where you freeze. You're like, this is too dangerous. I cannot fight or flight this. I need to just freeze and pretend that I'm dead. I'll make myself small. You stop being responsive. You go into a depressive state. You make yourself as small and as quiet as possible. And you can fluctuate between the sympathetic and the dorsal. The middle is the parasympathetic. This is about your nervous system. You can fluctuate between the sympathetic and the dorsal outside of your window of tolerance. So if you're in the parasympathetic, your window of tolerance, most of the time, and you have a wide window of tolerance, and this changes every day as well. It's not static. It changes according to what's going on in your life, such as on Friday, I had three horrific, not three horrific, but one horrific event happen, and I had to change villas in the place where I'm living in Bali right now, and that really closed down my window of tolerance. And so the two other things, I missed an event and the yoga class got cancelled, and those two things, because my window of tolerance was so narrow, the second thing, my heart dropped, my heart sunk when I found out I missed it, and then I cried when the one of the hosts told me that they were happy to reschedule my session. So my window of tolerance was so small that that kindness made me cry. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea of window of tolerance. And if you do end up working with me, we will talk about this more. But so yes, a healthy relationship with your emotions is where you acknowledge, accept, express, and release them, and you feel quite stable. Whereas an unhealthy relationship with emotions is when potentially you suppress them. You might feel emotionally exhausted, not physically exhausted. Physically exhausted, you feel okay, but the emotions make you feel exhausted, and that can weigh on your physical and your mental and your emotional health. One of my clients has a big family event going on right now. And she's like, oh, I feel like I'm eating intuitively. I'm still trying to move my body regularly, really gently though, but I still feel exhausted. What's going on? I'm like, you've got this whole big family event going on. You have to be there for your mother. You have to be there for yourself. You have to hold the emotions of your mother and yourself. Of course you're exhausted. It makes complete sense that you're exhausted. Do not underestimate the power and the weight of emotions. And like I mentioned before, when we don't express our emotions, they get stuck in our bodies. And so if we don't ever release them, they just build and build and build and build. And that's why if you've ever, just been at the supermarket and you dropped a packet of whatever you were holding and you just burst out into tears. Or like my example, someone is being kind to me and I just burst out into tears. Or someone just said something like, your partner was just like, can you like close the door next time? And you take that as a huge criticism, and then you just irrationally have an outburst of anger. These things where we feel like our emotions are irrational or came out of nowhere. It's fully rational. It's fully rational. It makes complete sense because you have had so much emotion stacked up, suppressed in your body, that your body cannot hold anymore. And so when the tiniest thing ticks you, because your window of tolerance is so small, you outburst with extreme emotion. Let me know if you relate to any of these. Emotional eating. When you feel an emotion and you're like, oh, I need to eat to comfort myself, which is actually normal. I emotionally eat. Basically, everyone I know emotionally eats. But I dive a little deeper when my clients tell me that they cannot control their eating when they emotionally eat. So they end up binge eating, or they feel worse after emotional eating, instead of the guilt and the shame or the stress about whatever the situation was before, they now feeling guilty and shamed and stressed about the eating itself. And when eating is your only way to comfort yourself. So emotional eating can be a dorsal response when you're shutting down and you're just trying to distract yourself with food. It can also be a sympathetic response where you're just like, screw it, I'm just going to eat this all now, screw it. So emotional eating, not always concerning, but in some circumstances, I would look into it. So I invite you, if it feels safe, to reflect on your relationship with your emotions. When have you had a healthy relationship with your emotion? And when have you had an unhealthy relationship with your emotions? If you can only pick out one example that is perfect, the whole point is just to become more aware of your emotions, more aware of your relationship with your emotions, more aware of whether you're responding or reacting. Bringing the sub and unconscious to the consciousness so that you can shift it. And if you listen to the Deep PCOS Healing Masterclass, I talked about the divine and the wounded feminine energy. So the feminine energy is all about the emotions. The divine feminine energy, the truest form of feminine energy, accepts, acknowledges, expresses, and honors their emotions. The wounded feminine suppresses them, doesn't know how to express them, goes on the spectrum of the extremes in terms of expressing them, either huge outbursts or not suppressing them at all. And you have the dark feminine as well, which is expressing them in a very stern, fierce, yet still compassionate way. And I do just want to note that you don't always have to rationalize your emotions or what you're feeling. Sometimes we just feel things and we don't know where it's coming from, because the expression of it is delayed. We might have events that happen throughout the week and that build up in our bodies that we don't realize that we're feeling. And then all of a sudden you just feel like crying because you heard a sad song. True story. I was like walking through the supermarket and a sad song came on and I just like felt like crying. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to put a pin on that because I don't really want to cry in the supermarket. And so when I went home, I sat with myself and I put on a sad song and I just cried because I knew that needed to be released within me. I have no idea what that was about, but it was probably like, all the world events going on, hearing about that, and just, it's all stuck within you. We are going through such an intense time There's so, especially if you like listen to the media, or like if you read articles and things like that, which I actually like, I avoid. I hear most of the important part. You hear it from people, you hear it from, briefly scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or, whatever. But I don't actually usually I don't dive deep into the media, because all that stuff is just fear mongering. But nonetheless, you still hear these things. And when you don't express those emotions, they will build up. Let me know how you're going with this. Let me know if any of this is resonating, or if it's not resonating, or how you're feeling. 2 years ago, I couldn't tell you how I was feeling. I was that disconnected from my emotions. But it's with practice, it's with being in a safe space, often for emotions as well, for trauma, having someone, a trained professional, to hold that space for you is so important. A lot of the time, so many people are like, I don't need a therapist, I have my friends. But a lot of times, friends are going through their own shit and they don't know how to hold that space. And I say this with love. If it's not me, go seek a therapist. I'm not a therapist, but I often hold this space for the healing work in PCOS, in body, relationship with body, relationship with food. But if it's not me, and you know that these emotions are affecting you, and you're not connected to your emotions, please seek therapy. You are worth it. You deserve it. You deserve to live a life where you feel connected to your emotions and you feel in control of them. And you can seek wisdom from them. Our emotions are so wise. There is so much wisdom in your emotions. Using the PMS example, often women, our emotions, women and vulva owners, our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings and what we want and what we say is dismissed before our period. That's by other people, and then we internalize that and we dismiss ourselves. Oh, I just said that because I was PMSing. Oh, I just was feeling so emotional because I was PMSing. And we dismiss that, we disregard that. We're like, for basically 2 weeks of the month, I should disregard myself. I should dismiss myself because my emotions are taking over, and that means that what I say and what I do doesn't hold weight. But reconnecting with my emotions and with my menstrual cycle, I now see how powerful, how informative those emotions during the 2 weeks of your PMS, your luteal phase, are. Because during your follicular and your ovulation, the first 2 weeks, everything is sunshine and rainbows. Your estrogen is high, so everything feels good. You feel really social, you're positive emotions. So you don't see the things that annoy you. But in the luteal phase, when your estrogen drops and your progesterone rises, and you start to get a little bit moodier, you start to notice things that irritate you. These are clues into things that aren't aligning with you. These are clues into what you care about, what you value, what's important to you, so much that you feel an emotion about it. So for example, if you have a partner and during your follicular and ovulation, you're so in love and everything's amazing, and you have amazing sex because your sexual energy is up there with your estrogen. And then in your luteal phase, you start to get annoyed because he or she or they, they don't put the laundry away very often or don't do the house chores or something. That is valid. All of your emotions are valid, especially during the luteal PMS phase. So take that, reflect on that, wonder why do I get so frustrated that they don't do as much housework during this time? Do I feel like I'm doing most of the work? And that's frustrating for me because I have important things to do as well. So the PMS phase is so important to go internal and reflect on your emotions, on how you're feeling, on what triggered you, so that you can seek wisdom out of them, so that you can communicate them, maybe not during the luteal phase, maybe during follicular and ovulation phase where your communication skills are best. Each phase has a superpower. So that you can communicate the things that frustrate you and you can create a life that you love, that you truly love, that's not just good enough, that's, oh yeah, look, it's fine, that you wake up excited about every freaking day. I know that might sound scary if you're not used to being told that you can have whatever you want, but that is the truth. Your emotions give you so much wisdom to show you what you care about, what feels aligned or not aligned for you, what you love, what you want more of in your life and what you don't, where you need to set boundaries. Do you see the power, the wisdom in your emotions? And can you use your emotions to improve your PCOS? Like I said, emotions are humans' most strongest, most powerful motivator. Think about something that you absolutely love. Could be your pet or your partner or going for walks in nature. How does it feel when you think about those things? How does it feel when you think about hanging out with those things or doing those things? Can you bring that energy to your healthy habits? Can you bring that energy to your body, to food, to your PCOS? How can you do more movement that you love, that you look forward to doing every day? How can you make food that you love and look forward to every day? If you think about your current habits, are you currently feeling love or fear around them? Do you think, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today because I love lifting weights and it makes me feel good and I know this will be nourishing for my body? And I'm doing it out of love for my body? Or are you saying, I need to go to the gym today, I have to go to the gym today because even though I don't particularly feel like it and I don't particularly want to, because I need to do this to lose weight because my body is too big and it needs to be smaller and it needs to be small to be healthier? Or are you thinking, I want to eat a meal that feels nourishing and feels loving and feels energizing for my body? Or are you thinking, I need to eat something to fuel my body so that I can not have PCOS anymore and not have symptoms anymore and lose weight? So how is your relationship with your habits, your PCOS, your body right now? Are you coming from a place of love or fear? I know a lot of people initially they're like, oh no, I'm not coming from a place of fear. But when I give those examples, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I am. Maybe I am coming from a place of fear. And that's normal because diet culture has imbued fear in you. If you don't exercise 5 times a week, you'll gain weight and you'll have bad health. If you eat this chocolate, that means that you're bad because it's unhealthy, it has too much sugar. Don't eat gluten, it'll give you inflammation and you'll worsen your PCOS. Diet culture, capitalism, our whole society is run by fear. And so the healing work is to come from a place of love. Love for your habits, love for your body, love for yourself, love for the collective, love for community, for each other. So, big conversations today. I do want to do a quick body drop-in meditation. It's only about 5 to 10 minutes. But this practice I learned at a retreat, the first retreat I ever went to, which was really amazing. And I've been using it ever since. And the more and more I use it, I share it with all my clients. But the more and more I use it personally, the more I get out of it. It is so powerful. So, wherever you are, getting nice and comfortable in your seats or lying down. If your feet are on the floor, just ground them down a little bit more. Feel that support of the floor beneath you. Maybe rolling your shoulders up, back and down. Having a nice, long, straight spine. Maybe closing down the eyes or gently gazing down. Maybe placing a hand on your heart space, the center of your chest, and the other on your womb space, your belly, or wherever feels comfortable for you. And just taking a moment there to bring your awareness in the space behind your closed eyes. noticing any sounds around you. Maybe noticing the furthest sounds that you can hear without attaching to it, without needing to name it or think about what it is. And then bringing your awareness to the sounds outside of your room. Just moving from sound to sound without attaching. And bringing your awareness to the sounds within your room. And finally, bringing your awareness to the sounds within your body. Noticing if there is a sensation that is calling your attention within your body. No need to judge or attach or name the emotion for now, the sensation for now. Just becoming aware of it. Where is it in your body? It could be a tightness. It could be moving. It could be any sensation that you feel and notice. Maybe you can assign a color that represents that sensation. Maybe you can name the emotion associated with that sensation. If you can't, that's completely okay. And just allow yourself to sit with that emotion or that sensation. If at any time this starts to feel unsafe for you, you can just gently blink open your eyes and ground yourself in your room. If it feels okay, just continue to sit with your emotion and become aware of any thoughts or judgments that arise. And just thanking that thought for coming into your awareness, but letting it go. It's not what you need right now. It's not what you're focusing on right now. You're just focusing on that sensation in your body. Now taking a breath in through the nose and sends that breath into that area that you feel that sensation. And as you exhale, exhaling out of the mouth and watching that sensation move through your body. One more time, inhale, breathing into that sensation, exhaling out of the mouth allowing that sensation to move through your body. Again, inhale into that sensation and exhale, allowing that sensation to move through you. Now take as many breaths as you need here. Breathing into that sensation and exhaling to allow it to move through you. If you're not noticing any sensations, if you're not noticing it moving, that's completely perfect. It's okay. Just continue sitting with yourself. And when you're ready, coming back to your body and repeating these affirmations after me out loud or in your mind. I am safe. I am whole. I am home. With meaning, repeat it after me. I am safe. I am whole. I am home. I am safe. I am whole. I am home. Knowing that you are safe, whole, and home. No matter what emotions you feel and express. Knowing that that makes you whole, having positive and less positive emotions. Knowing that there is people and a community who will accept you as your whole self. And knowing that that is what you deserve, to be your whole self and to be accepted. That is true belonging. All your emotions are valid and perfect. All of your emotions are valid and perfect. Take a moment to express gratitude for yourself for showing up today and doing the work to heal not just yourself, but the collective. Thanking this practice for helping you reconnect to your body and your emotions. Thanking this community for being this space that you can explore these emotions and these practices. Taking an inhale, feeling yourself fill up with that golden light of gratitude. And as you exhale out of the mouth, watch that golden light expand around you. And when you feel ready, gently moving your fingers and your toes. And gently blinking open your eyes to rejoin us in the room. I would love to know how that landed for you. If you feel comfortable to share what came up for you during that meditation or throughout this whole session, whether you're here live or in the replay. And I invite you to do some homework. I invite you to manifest your dream life. What would your ideal day look like? Describe it from the moment you wake up with the emotions that you want to feel. For example, I woke up to the view of the ocean and I felt in awe and excited and grateful. I got up and did my yoga practice and my meditation practice, and I felt relaxed, calm, and connected. I made myself a beautiful breakfast and I feel nourished and energized. So what is your dream? What does your dream day look like, and what emotions would you feel? I know this can be difficult for many of you. You might have thoughts that come up that are blocking you, that are saying, but you can't do that because you have kids, but that's not going to work because of this. And your mind starts to come in to try to protect you. But just like meditation, you can notice those thoughts, thank them, and send them away, because this is not a part of what you are practicing right now. You are practicing dreaming without any constraints. Dreaming about what your ideal day would look like. There is no boundaries. There is nothing that is too wild. You could say, I want to wake up on a tropical island where I am the queen. It could be as wild as that. Whatever it is, write down your wildest dreams. That's your homework. If you'd love to post a part of it in under this video, I would love to read it. And I'd love, for other people to be inspired by your dreams. Thank you so much for joining me live or on the replay today and being a part of this huge, 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 huge conversation. It has been a big one. If anything comes up for you, please either go see a doctor, go see a therapist, or reach out to me if you need. This is the deep work. It's not easy, but it is so worth it. And your life will start falling into place. Things will start feeling so aligned for you when you do it. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here, for your attention, for your energy, for your presence. Tomorrow is day 3 of Reconnection, and we're going to be talking about the mind and core beliefs. another big one. Thank you so much. I have so much love for you, and I will see you tomorrow.